Lugosi's alive in you. Bela Lugosi thrives on you.
Yeah, music of dreams, the racket screams. You're now under his spell, the soul through the hell. You know the blood is the life. You gotta bite like a knife. You love it.
Bela Lugosi's alive in you.
Yes, well, apparently we do have Brooke on the line. Hey, Brooke, you there?
Hey, how are you?
Doing great. You're our interview for the night.
Nice. By the way, I think I had you guys beat. I saw Nine Inch Nails on the Downward Spiral tour in '94 with Marilyn Manson opening.
Nice.
Wow.
I'm jealous. I should have been
It was
there.
a life-changing experience.
Tour de force.
All right, Brooke, well, we got you on here. This is Brooke Ellis. You're
Right, and I'm with Vintage Quixotic. It's basically new music for old Hollywood, dedicated to the scandals, the glamour, the legends, and the stars of old Hollywood.
Interesting.
Nice. Well, what got you into music or vintage Hollywood scene?
Well, I come from a musical family. My dad, he was always singing and whistling, and he still sings. He plays piano. And I picked up a guitar when I was 14. Started off as a guitar instrumentalist. I wanted to be a guitar god, so I was following, like, Eddie Van Halen's footsteps.
Nice.
And then I got into the grunge scene, and I was just in and out of bands for years. Until I finally hung it up a few years ago, my last band, the Flesh Gods, because 3 years we're out there playing like 3 times a week. We're all working full-time jobs. I'm in my 30s. I'm like, you know what? I can't do this anymore. And we're seeing all these great bands out there, all these great musicians, all these great songwriters. I'm like, what can you possibly do to get ahead of the game? What can you do to separate yourself from the crowd? And I didn't know. So I kind of just gave it up for a bit. I went into rock journalism. Started writing for rock magazines like Classic Rock. I ghost wrote Steven Adler's biography, My Appetite for Destruction.
Yes.
And for a few years, I was just sort of in a lull with music until I started to get into this old Hollywood scene. Started writing melodies about some of the stars that I found interesting.
Like Fatty Arbuckle?
Fatty's one of my favorites. He was railroaded. He was acquitted 3 times in trial, for when he was on trial for raping a woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I do mention him in my song Hollywood Babylon, which is based on the book Hollywood Babylon by Kenneth Anger.
Yes. Yeah, I did notice when we were listening to that song earlier, which we will be playing that song later after we do our interview here.
Nice.
It's on there, but yes, Fatty is mentioned on that.
Yeah, and I have a song for Bela Lugosi, who's also one of my favorites. Bauhaus had that wonderful song, Bela Lugosi is Dead, but I didn't think it really paid proper tribute to the man, so I did sort of an biographical song about him where it sort of tells the story of his life, and it's very gothic, very metal. And then I do a song for Audrey Hepburn, because, everybody loves her. And
With their breakfast in Hollywood?
Pardon me?
With their breakfast at Tiffany's. I'm sorry. Mm.
Exactly, yeah, that's her all-time classic. And, instead of taking a biographical approach in every song, because that's just going to get old, what I did for that particular song, My Fair Audrey, I did it from the point of view of a 50s moviegoer, a downtrodden guy who's beat up at his job, and his only release is seeing Audrey Hepburn films. So I put a lot of clever references to her films in there for the fans, and yeah, it's still like a great sort of jazzy pop tune.
Mm-hmm. I do have a quick question, though. The song you have a song, I think it was called "Song About Patty,"
Helen.
Or "Song About Helen."
Right.
Which one is that referencing to?
That's Bela Lugosi's co-star in the 1931 version of Dracula, the very first Dracula.
Okay.
And she played Mina Seward, who was basically, Dracula's love interest. And when I was watching that DVD with commentary and hearing about the life of this actress, Helen Chandler, this troubled life, she was a huge star who fell from such heights to such terrible depths. I mean, unbelievable. To the point where when she died, she was all alone, and her cremated ashes were never even claimed by anybody. Wow. And for some reason, that intrigued me so much, and I became obsessed with this actress. She's actually the one that started my whole journey into this old Hollywood thing. And I started buying her films, which most of them aren't commercially available. I just got like bootleg copies. And so that song is a genuine, heartfelt song, and people feel it. Like, you look on YouTube, there's comments that are like haunting, beautiful. I had one person say that they want to play it at their funeral. I mean, it's one of those songs with a little bit of exposure, I think, will really, go over the top.
Do you know who Colin Clive is?
Of course. He was
Dr. Frankenstein and Frankenstein. He had the same story, pretty much.
He did. He
downtrodden and just completely pathetic, and his real life didn't stray too far away from the doctor in the movie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was a closeted homosexual. He was an alcoholic. And he actually appeared with Helen Chandler in a film with an up-and-coming actress named Katharine Hepburn.
Right.
One of her first roles, called Christopher Strong.
Wow.
I see.
The book you have about Lugosi, what's the name of it?
The book?
No, he has a book about Adler. He has a song about Lugosi.
Lugosi, the song about Lugosi. What's the name of that?
Oh, Bela Lugosi's Alive.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's sort of a play on, Bauhaus's Bela Lugosi's Dead. You know?
Okay.
So that way when people are searching Bela Lugosi's Dead online, they'll also find, vintage Quixotics, Bela Lugosi's Alive, and hopefully they'll get turned on to that as well. Hey, how come I don't hear Michelle?
Actually, I have a question for you.
Oh, sure.
If Bela Lugosi could come back to life, and he wanted to touch you in inappropriate places, would you let him?
Absolutely. That's Bela. That's
Right on.
the king of the vampires. Are you kidding me?
Right on. That's what I thought you'd say, but I wasn't sure.
He'd want to suck your blood?
Only my blood, though. I have to stop there. To
That's
be
where you're going to draw the line.
Wow.
Yeah. All right. Well, if any of our listeners want to get any of your music, where can they go?
Oh, cool. I wrote this down. Let me see. Well, in Hollywood, you can pick it up at Amoeba Records. You can also get it at world famous Larry Edmunds bookstore. There's Star World, the Hollywood Book and Poster Company. In Claremont, right here, you can get it at Rhino Records. And it's filed under Soundtracks, by the way. I think I should probably move it into rock. Online, you can get it at Amazon, iTunes, Bandcamp. Obviously, we have a YouTube channel. We have videos for all of our songs. We're on Rhapsody, Spotify. You can pick up the CD on eBay, SoundCloud, Reverb Nation. We're out there.
Nice.
Now we're getting ready to do some sets. I've got an amazing vocalist, Cecily Williams, who sings Valentino on the album. And I've got a guitar player named Stephen Wilson, who's also a great vocalist from the band Plastic Soul. And Chris Woodcock, the saxophonist on the album, he's going to be coming out with us, and we're going to record a 4 or 5 song acoustic EP where we're just going to knock it out of the park with some classics, some cover tunes like Betty Davis Eyes, and we're going to make that available to the fans to tide them over until Hollywood Babylon 2.
Sounds very interesting for that. Are you going to be making any appearances anytime soon, or like shows, or?
Well, right now we're working on the set, like I said, the acoustic set, because to actually pull off a vintage Quixotic full-on concert experience, we're not at that level yet, because, our songs have, horn sections and string sections, and it's huge. So we're scaling it down to this acoustic thing with Cecily, Stephen, Chris, and myself. And we haven't booked the shows yet, but we're going to record them and make that available.
Nice. All right. Well, do you have any websites or Twitter, Facebook, or anything you want to plug so people can find you?
Oh, yeah. Well, there's VintageQuixotic.com, of course. And I'd love for you guys to like us on Facebook, Facebook.com/VintageQuixotic. And again, that's QUIXOTIC. It's a little confusing. Leave it to me to pick a name that nobody can pronounce,
Okay. Well, sounds good. We got all your information here. We'll definitely be doing it, but we have one of your songs here, Hollywood Babylon. Do you want to talk about that before we play it?
Sure. Again, that's based on the Kenneth Anger expose, the scandalous Hollywood Babylon, where they talk about Fatty Arbuckle, Clara Bow. It's just a down and dirty novel that actually pissed off a lot of Hollywood purists, but also turned a lot of people on to old Hollywood like myself. So I hope you enjoy it.
Okay, well, here it is, Hollywood Babylon. Thank you for calling, Brooke.
Thanks, man. You guys have a good one. See you, Michelle.
Bye.
Behind the scenes, bright hopes and dreams, darkened and frayed. Olive Thomas, Wally Reed, the first casualties. Fatty found left to Virginia rapping. Gilbert and Bo with the talkie wolf.